Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to another Spider-Man on K-Wing's Let's Plays. It's K-Wing here, just me. And today we're going to do some spider lore on White 2099 Spider-Man, which is Miguel's suit that is given to him by Peter Parker. So anyway, we're going to just spend a little bit of time talking about after the events of Spider-Verse, where Miguel finally got to go back home to the future, or so he thought. Turned out when he went into a portal after defeating the weird vampire people that ate spider people. Check out the Spider-Verse comics, which is kind of weird, but there's a lot of different Spider-Men in it. More or less, he goes inside this portal thinking that, you know, everything's fine and dandy and he's gonna get to go home, but he ends up going to another future that's been completely obliterated by, like, some type of catastrophe. And, I forget how, but somehow he ends his way back to Earth 616. And, he just kind of quits being Spider-Man. He hates it. And, you know, for a hero of the future, he keeps ending up in the past a lot. And I don't know why Dan Slott really did this, but for whatever reason, they kept taking the future Spider-Man out of the future and sticking him in the past, which for him would feel really weird.
Down there. Bad one. People could be injured.
Yeah, people are always injured in car accidents, Spidey. That's, you know.
Someone's pinned under that car. Need to hurry.
Then let's get him out. Actually, you don't need to hurry. These aren't timed. You know, you could just hang out and high-five civilians over there, wait for a taxi, and these guys will still be here as long as you don't leave the area. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it is, actually. Oh, man. So where was I before I was interrupted by civilians? Whoops.
I think that debris is trapping someone inside the... Hold on!
Debris is always trapping civilians, Spidey. And you totally hit that civilian.
They caused the wreck. I need to find whoever caused this wreck before anyone else gets hurt.
Okay, cool. Alright, so, pretty much, I don't know the reason why Miguel quit being Spider-Man, but he and Peter, normal Peter, have a fun little talk about, oh, you know, there are a lot of times that I wanted to quit being Spider-Man, and he kind of respects Miguel for that, and Miguel, you know, is like, wow, I mean, you're kind of cool, Peter. I mean, I got to know another version of Peter Parker when he first got stranded in Earth, back during the, I believe it was Superior Spider run, where Miguel was experiencing time fissures in his universe, and he ended up going back in time originally to kill the cause of the time fissures that were destroying future New York City, which I believe is called Nueve New York. That card totally just vanished. Freaky. Maybe it had a cloaking device. And he ends up, you know, back in the past working with Superior Spider-Man, and he's like, you know what? You're really not all that bad. You're kind of the Superior Spider-Man, and he respects him a little bit. I mean, he doesn't like him as much as the Amazing Spider-Man, especially after really getting to know Peter during the Edge of Time stuff, which I believe is canon. Great game, by the way. Both Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time are Amazing Spider-Man games, story-wise. Gameplay-wise, they're kind of what you would expect from a lot of Spidey games, but anyway. So, having known both Superior Spider-Man and regular Spider-Man, 2099 Spider-Man trapped in the past is kind of like taking things pretty hard, like, oh, woe is me, I'm a failure, you know, the future was destroyed because of me, blah, blah, blah. And Peter's like, you know what? I have this really cool company called Parker Industries now. Why don't you come work for me? I mean, it's not the future. I know that, you know, this stuff is all prehistoric to you, but, you know, it's a job and stable income, and you can eat something called food to live, unless you catch insects, you know, like a bug. He didn't really say that, but, you know, I'm just trying to paint a vivid picture for you. It's also during this time that 2099 gets the white spider suit, which I don't really know what the appropriate name of the suit is. Either it's White 29 or it's all new different 29 Spider-Man. And so after Spider-Verse, he kind of hangs out with Gwen Stacy and Miles Morales as different Spider-Men in the 616 universe, so it's kind of like, if you think about it, Spider-Man kind of got like his own Spider family, like Batman has his Bat family, so there's all these different Spider-Men and women roaming around New York City, you know, doing whatever a spider can, and they all more or less like Peter Parker. Miguel especially, he kind of becomes the assistant of super rich Tony Stark-inspired Spider-Man.
I know, I'm a jerk.
Oh, and before I forget, this spider suit comes with a power called Concussion Strike, which, as you can clearly see demonstrated here, it makes quick work of brutes, and, you know, it's a pretty good suit. The only problem with this power, though, and a lot of problems I have with the end of the game, or post-game, is you're so overpowered that as much fun as the combat is in this game, you really don't get to appreciate it anymore because enemies fall so much faster. So the Concussion Strike would be a great ability for early in the game when you're not so OP, but once you're able to unlock the white 2099 suit, I mean, the suit and its powers don't really end up helping the player very much because you're already at a point in the game where it's just kind of like, okay. But I mean, that's just a minor nitpick. I don't know if the white spider suit has like different abilities like Miguel's suit did, like his ability to be invisible, and you know, I'm pretty sure Peter did the best he could for the era that he was in, but there's no way, that he could create the same amount of technology that they have in the year 2099. And he has one really weird story too. Whoops, that guy's getting away.
Let the convicts escape. Time to hoof it.
Yep, hoof it. He ends up working with himself in another story where they're trying to save the year 2019. I believe it's a recent storyline, or at least I've heard of it. But if you're wondering why I never recommend comics to you guys for Marvel, and I'm just going to be completely frank because this is true, Marvel unfortunately went SJW, and if you don't know what that is, you can look it up on the internet.
Bring all the boys to the yard.
Still, that's all I'm going to mention about that for obvious reasons, just because of thought police and things like that. But Miguel, when he's back in the past, there is something really weird that happens while he's wearing the white suit, pretty much. So, I don't know why he thought this would be a good idea, but he ends up finding a girl, and they have a thing, sort of. But what he doesn't realize is this girl is going to lead him into probably the craziest thing that's ever happened in his entire career. Like, it is super bizarre what happens. So, it all started one day after, like, being on a break from work, working at Parker Industries. He is having dinner with this girl who very casually tells him that, you know, are you okay talking to me? Because, well, I mean, there's no other way to say this, but she's pregnant, and it's not Miguel's. But Miguel fell head over heels for her, and he's like, yeah, I totally, you know, I'm totally fine raising somebody else's kid, and I love you very much. And everything is going good for their date, and then all of a sudden, a bus comes flying through the window, or a truck, and it appears that this girl is crushed to death. And Miguel has, like, a panic attack and kind of snaps. And, like, all this other bizarre stuff happens to him over the course of this thing. So, what we learn is, right now, Miguel is in the year 2016 in, you know, where he met this girl that was just totally destroyed by a bus. Is that guy standing on top of a mailbox? Get off mailbox. That's really messing with my train of thought there, dude. Yeah, I'm sure you saw me fighting something. Hey, how you people doing? All right, so we're out of here. So yeah, all these crazy events happen in the year 2016, and eventually Miguel somehow they don't really say all that much, but he's transported to the year 2019, so it's a little bit in the future. I'm gonna make lots of noise and knock you fools down. Yeah, no, I don't think so. And in the year 2019, he ends up, like, meeting, a new version of the Sinister Six or something like that, along with teaming up with another superhero, which is kind of bizarre. And there's a lot of gender bent versions of different Sinister Six villains from the year 2099 and 2019. And New York is actually going through like some really crazy stuff, all because of Alchemex.
You'd be going away for a lot longer.
Yeah, they would be going away for a very, very long time. So anyway, back to the year 2019. You somehow learn that the girl that Miguel loved mysteriously didn't die. She faked her death for obvious reasons because she subconsciously ends up killing her either husband or boyfriend or whoever she's with. It's like something with her superpower or something. It's really bizarre. Whoops. I kind of passed where I need to go. We're gonna head back there. So, he ends up meeting with his son from her or something, and it's like basically like a future time-traveling Spider-Man that's wearing an upgraded version of Miguel's old costume. So that's why... Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get my electric thing there. There we go. Shocking, isn't it? It's kind of crazy. So, teaming up with this person, and after beating all the bad guys, he finds out that if he goes back to the year 2016, he is going to die. And this person refuses to, you know, reveal the thing about the death of 2099. And eventually...
Always nice to stop a mugging. Gotta stay strong in the fundamentals.
Yeah, I know I'm all we got left. Eventually, he finds out from this person, and he goes, "Hey, Spider-Man.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, is this guy gonna interact with us?
Spider-Man.
How about shoot a high five? Boom. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Feeling the hero love. So, future time-traveling superhero tells 2099 to go meet a girl named Gabri, and reveals that actually Tempest is the one that kills Miguel. And it happens when he tries to save his girlfriend from a character called the Fist. So, after everything is kind of restored, he goes back to the year 2016 and he tries to save Tempest, and she ends up killing Miguel, stabbing him, like, with something, I don't know. And then, as he's dying, he is, like, has his consciousness return to the year 2099, and with the help of Gabri and Doctor Strange and some other people, his body is transported back to where it's supposed to be, and he comes back to life, but he's very disappointed to learn from Doctor Strange that he can never go back to the year 2016 or 2019 because it would be really bad for the future of reality or something. I was like, okay. So Miguel is back in the year 2099, or at least was a couple years ago, and he is separated from the woman that he loves, even though she killed him, which is weird, but you know, that's what more do you want from current Marvel books? They're very confusing, and I don't know. There's some other things that I wish I could talk to you about, like some undertones that are in their stories, but I don't want to get political, so we'll just leave it as there's a lot of garbage involved with a lot of Marvel books, and eventually somebody like Stan Lee could come back and straighten out Marvel and put them on the right path, but that's not going to be anytime soon, and I won't be recommending their books. So I'm very thankful to different Spider-Man Reddit places and other things keeping me informed about what's going on with the different spider costumes and things like that. As far as abilities for this suit, in the comic books, it has pretty much all the same stuff that Spidey uses
That was like some
in the
dystopian
future.
sci-fi movie. Of course, the city's not that far
And
off.
he's still able to use a lot of his future tech in the past, which doesn't really make any sense, but, you know, comic book logic. It's not something that people really need to worry about, you know? He has holograms, he has, like, these spinneret, like, spike thingies, like Wolverine, and, you know, not the same powers as Peter Parker, but it doesn't matter. And I really dig the white suit. I think it looks cool, but I like the luchador look of the original suit. And there you go, people. That is kind of like a bite-sized spider lore on the all-new different 2099 Spider-Man. Personally, I like classic 2099 better than the future one because things got weird. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what spider character you would like to have a mini lore video on next time. Until we meet again, God bless and happy gaming.